right. Well, hello everyone. Welcome to another evening and another episode of our Apocalypse World campaign, The Frozen Heights. As always, this is Mr. JP Stilts. I'm very happy to be back again with our three returning players. We are joined by Dusk, Lark, Chris, and Sam. Very excited to get back in here as we left off on kind of a tense moment. But before we actually hit that play button, let's go around, highlight some stats. I think situations have changed and it's time to change our highlights as well. So Dusk, take a look over your character sheet. Who will be highlighting your stats today?
That would be Sam.
Oh.
Oh, by the way, I don't think we did the HX last session.
Right. At the very end, I had kind of mentioned, but we can definitely do that now as well. If you...
I thought about bringing it up, but honestly, our characters really haven't interacted since our last hex.
Lark and Dusk have.
Well.
Well, that
Yeah, then
was on
those
the
change.
session before that, where
Right.
he went up to the tower, talked to her. After that, yeah, I don't think we really interacted much. It was mostly just NPCs, I think.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess we can skip that. That's all right.
There's almost certainly going to be a lot of interaction between everyone this time, so.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, we'll definitely get one at the end of this one, if not.
Yep. Absolutely. All right. So yeah, I guess.
Let's see. What do I think we're gonna end up dealing with this time around? Well, war is coming. Shit's gonna hit the fan pretty hard. And
it isn't winter is coming. Winter is already here. War is coming.
Is here. I think the more fearful would be summer is coming in this world.
yeah,
God.
that's very true. Ooh. But most likely, I'm probably gonna have to say that you're gonna be doing a lot of things. So let's just go ahead and boost up the one that mostly a mind person like you is gonna be using. Let's boost up that weird.
It's already highlighted.
All right, Dusk.
Now let's keep it highlighted.
There's a lot of there's just a lot of dangers all around right now, surrounding the castle, in the castle, even those that you're close to. I think it's time to highlight that cool of yours. How well is Dusk going to be able to keep her head down? All right, let's go to Lark.
For Lark, my HX is Dusk.
Okay, I guess like me, you're probably going to have to resort to some of your weirder techniques. So weird.
Cool.
Right. I mean, Lark, you're about to have a conversation with someone that you were just warned about. Let's go ahead and highlight your hard.
Awesome. I have my two highest stats highlighted.
There you go. All right, Chris. It's up to you. Pick whoever you want to, or roll a d3, and we can go from there.
Okay. What is the command in the Roll20 chat? Just
/R and then 1d3.
Perfect.
All right, Lark. Pick Chris's. This is a bit meta, but it's all good.
Dusk.
Okay.
I have it arranged.
So
Lark,
I
Dusk,
think
Sam.
Shit is about to hit the fan, so let's highlight that hard.
All right.
You know what? Chris has been making a lot of sharp rolls, and they've been. I think honestly he's gonna have to continue to make a lot. They haven't worked out so successfully, but
I upped that stat for a reason.
Right, might as well still continue to have some good come from those rolls.
All right.
All right, and Sam, who has the highest hex?
That would be. It's actually a kind of tie, in a sort of, because there's Dusk, who's a -2, but then there's Lark, who's +2.
Right. So the way highlighting
Coin
works
toss.
is basically, because you have a +2 on Lark, it basically means you have a +2 advantage to either be able to give them support, or especially if you're going to interfere with them, you have a +2 to that roll. Whereas Dusk you would have a -2, so you would have a less likely chance to interfere with her. So this would be a way for Lark to have that same kind of ability. It's to kind of even the scales to say, all right, like, let me give you a highlight that it's not going to screw over your character. It's me telling you this is an interesting way that I think your character could play. And it's giving you a boost. You know, you're getting XP from it. But it's also a decision. It's out of your control completely. So for a split moment, they get to influence your character just as you are more likely to influence theirs.
So I guess that means Lark.
All right. Oh. I think Sam is going to have to be very aware of her situations to properly plan her next move, because her next move, don't know what it's going to be, but I bet it's going to be something big, so I'm going to say sharp.
Alright. Just remark that.
I'm not sure if Sam's going to be able to escape the weird that's within this castle. No one seems to have been able to yet. Let's go ahead and highlight that weird. I think things are going to get weird in this place.
Even more than they are.
Well, who knows? Honestly, yeah, it's possible. Time will tell. Give me 10 minutes and I guess we'll see. Perfect. Chris, let's start off with a sharp roll. Let's do this past move.
All right. Let's see if that +1 starts paying off.
Oh,
Yay!
there it is.
It actually made a difference.
You did.
All right. Find my quarantine sheet. Whoops. Okay. So trying to remember what questions we have already asked.
I've been keeping decent track, so if you ask one that we've already answered, we can just go to another.
Gotcha. Okay, so I think this is a good question because of all the research Chris has been doing. When it reached us, what did we already know?
All right. So, where you're located, you and your unit would have been some of the first to have received the reports from the dark zone, from the drill site, that there'd probably already been studies done from what they would have considered radiation that was being emitted from the hole. Again, trying to keep it on the down low, but there were some of your scientists and such that could tell that this was not anything normal. This was not a radiation like anything they've existed before. There was an energy that they're able to track within it, very similar to the energy that Chris saw when the twins were destroyed. They knew that what was being released would be immensely powerful. And part of the reason why they've been wanting to study so far is to see if they can harness that power, not knowing what it was. It was a raw energy to them that they wanted to use. Obviously, through their tests, they realized what that power is, what it can become, how it can actually influence people, and it's not just a battery. But when it reached you, you already knew that this was something dangerous, but powerful. Like, you were able to raise your shields and have defensives already in place to protect yourselves from that energy, i.e. the isolation rig, which to them was probably almost like a bomb shelter that they probably retrofitted to detach people from this energy once they began to learn more of it. But they had had enough time to realize that this was something that almost like a radiation does, seeps into people. And yeah, they were able to shield themselves from it. And you were not the only location. This is probably NMO worldwide. You were some of the first hit, because again, drill site was entry point number 1. Many other drill sites around the world, and yeah, so you knew how powerful it would be and that it would change. Yeah, it would change the world. Basically, how to protect yourself from it.
Okay. Yeah, so to the rest of the world, this was a very unknown thing, but we had the general knowledge of it that allowed...
Right. It was when, and again, you can ask follow-up questions. To give you an example, this would be considered a Chernobyl-type event, where it is such an immense amount of radiation once it was they would call it kind of the layer was pierced. Yeah, they immediately treated it just as they would have treated, well, I guess not immediately, kind of how they've been treating Chernobyl more recent years. No one's allowed in, and they made it sound probably a little bit more physical than it really was.
Yeah, okay. Interesting. Fortunately, all that is kind of at the back of Chris's mind at the moment.
Right. Well, it's still a little bit early in the day, probably about 10 or so. The clouds are starting to roll over the mountains. The sky's getting gray. If you're outside, your breath hangs a little bit longer in the air. Gets a bit icy. Starting to get chill. That's not the case deep beneath the earth, though. No, it's dark. Very, very dark. So densely dark. Let's see, I don't want to do that. Oh dear, I just did a thing. Let me reset that. Reset these.
Hopefully the facility won't explode.
May have already done that. All right, there we go. That's fixed now. Let's drag you over here. Chris, you're in the bunker. You just hit
Oh no.
The big red button. The twins were in the isolation rig. The door was closed. You watched as their forms deflated and then disappeared. You saw on the monitors next this bouncing ball of energy darting around the room. You heard Tammy approach, seeming to watch the energy that you could not see with your eyes, but she seemed to follow it with hers. You had a decision to make. What were you going to do with this energy? And then that damn radar, that's been keeping you up at night, started beeping again. You didn't have time to go, and you couldn't split your focus. So you hit the release, the doors open, that energy escaped, and immediately the generator surged and the lights go out. You have your flashlight on you. That still seems to work. You're standing in the isolation rig. What would you like to do in this moment? It is eerily silent. It's like you're standing in an audio room with a bunch of that audio foam around, where even your breath, you're not quite hearing it. Though the floor itself is, metal and the walls are solid stone, you're used to the sound of music constantly playing in here, or the beeping of the machines, or just the general constant sound. To be this deep underground with none of that, yeah.
Chris takes a breath. This is almost a worst case scenario. And oh boy. Chris is going to immediately flick on his light and just be like, Tammy, can you hear me?
You look over the room and you can see Tammy's standing, facing the door now wide open. You had heard her gasp. Her face is still staring straight ahead. As you move the flashlight kind of across her face, you notice her pupils don't change. They are wide, dilated. A very thin line of her brown eyes still available, not reactive to your light whatsoever. She just stands, her mouth open, still breathing steadily. You can still see that single tear that had dropped down her face, the trail of it still there on her cheek.
Chris will wave his hand in front of her face just to see if he gets any sort of reaction from that.
As you move it, her mouth begins to close. You see her blink for the first time. She doesn't move to turn to look at you. She still is just staring into the room as her eyes kind of reopen. You can still see her pupils are widely dilated. You're careful to keep your flashlight low as to not blind her. She's reactive, but again, seeming to just stare into this room.
Oh, hell. Think I fucked this one up, Tammy. I'm gonna kind of look where she is staring to see if I can see something from her perspective I didn't notice before.
Right. As you kind of look into the room, you can see the two sets of clothing still there. The white snowsuit, the bows that was still draped over them, their arrows, the radio, all of their equipment still on the floor. You don't feel anything in the room. When you're with Tammy, you can feel her presence. There's the sense of body heat. You can hear her breathing. In a way, you almost feel like you can hear her heart beating. It's so quiet in here. But in these rooms, and you would be familiar with this, having been in the isolation chamber, it is such an isolated place. And it doesn't feel like there's anything there. As you take a look around the facility, you know where the backup generator is. You probably know whatever the process, the workflow, the specific situational thing you are supposed to do during times of power outage.
Right. Chris is going to kind of gather up the clothing and the bow and everything. He's just going to kind of ball them up and stuff them in the corner. Because those all might be useful things later, but it's a secondary priority at this point.
Right.
And Chris is going to go over to Tammy and kind of usher her into the isolation chamber, because if things go bad, this is probably the safest place for her to be.
Right. So
I mean, it's he doesn't like the idea, but she'll last longer if things go foobar in the chamber.
Yeah, you take her in there and she follows, she walks. You have to kind of push her a little bit. As she comes into the room, though, she goes to one of the corners and puts her back against it and just kind of slides down, her legs just kind of crossed in front of her. She places her hands down into her lap, and it's almost as if you can see her trying to think, trying to bring something out. There's wrinkles in her brow that you haven't seen since the event.
Tammy, I don't... damn. Don't even know if you can hear me right now, but I'm gonna come back, alright? I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna get the power back on. I'm gonna be safe, alright?
I love you. You love me. We're a happy family with a great big hug and a kiss from me to you. Won't you say you love me too? She starts to sing in this corner, slowly rocking, her voice echoing throughout the room, starting to echo throughout the facility. This is the first time that you have heard her spoke. What was the last thing Tammy had said to you before the event?
Before the event... because the last moment of clarity she had was when she helped with the chamber the last time.
Right.
And I think she said something then. I think there was a very clear moment where Chris was kind of just shoved into the isolation chamber, and he saw Tammy, and she just mouthed the words, "Trust me." And Chris kind of puts his hands on her shoulders, like, "Tammy, trust me. I got this."
She doesn't seem to react to you. The wrinkles in her brow still there. Her voice, you welcome it, and it's eerie. Singing the child song.
Yes, it is.
There's other things to focus on here. So, Chris, you know your way through these halls. You know where the generator is. What's blocking your way?
Let's see. On the way there, it was probably in a general maintenance area as opposed to where the isolation rig is, which is more like the high-techy area. Because that's where the janitors and the maintenance guys would be.
Right.
And I think there was a joke around the facility, they referred to the scientists as the real engineers.
Right.
Despite the fact that they weren't, they'd have trouble with the basic stuff. But so there's probably like the general maintenance area would probably be around like the general quarters and the cafeteria.
Right.
And this area is probably like takes up the bulk of like one wing of this facility. So there's probably a good distance to go. And as Chris starts exiting the isolation area and Tammy's singing gets softer and softer, he just starts kind of to himself, just, hell, how did it go again? Heard that song a million damn times. And I walk a lonely road,
Right.
the only one that I have ever. Just kind of very softly singing to himself. He's certainly not a singer, but the familiarity of the lyrics are helpful to a degree.
Right. So as you start heading down, and now that you know you're in darkness, I'm going to give you a little help here. Give me a second.
Okay.
Not that, because I don't really...
Didn't
Not
expect you to
all
break
that-
out the dynamic lighting. Very nice.
Right? Why not? All
This is a
right.
pretty cool feature.
Give me this and that and... Yay, lights.
Oh boy.
So, as you begin making your way through your flashlight through this column, you stop as you kind of reach about there, and you look down this way. The reason you're looking down is you're hearing your voice carry past this door. The reason you find that strange is past that door is the stasis, the chamber, the same place that you have the rest of your crew, your unit. That should not be open right now,
What the hell?
but it is.
There's probably a moment where Chris is like looking down the hall towards the generator, looking back towards the stasis unit, and he kind of looks back and forth between the two a few times, and then he's like, hell, Curiosity and the cat, I guess. He's gonna start making his way towards the stasis unit.
Right. Still singing to yourself. Coming to the edge of the room, you can see how many additional members of your unit are still in here. How many other pods?
Let me, because that might actually be on the quarantine sheet. Let me see. Swear it was on the sheet somewhere. I'm trying to think. Maybe not.
Yeah, I don't
I
think
definitely
it has,
had-
It just says the
Yeah,
remaining
it just
members
has-
of your unit can begin.
Okay, yep. So it probably wasn't there's not a specific number, and I think I had my superiors were also here.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd say, I mean, it's not a super big facility. I'd say like a small gang's worth of members.
Okay.
Probably like only about 10 or something.
There's 10 pods. You have, we at least know Henry or Shockwave's in here. Who was your squad's leader?
The leader.
Captain.
Yeah, Captain. Definitely something. I'm racking my brain for like what the ranks are.
Right.
Yeah, so probably the kind of person that they'd want in a facility like this, a large, no-nonsense individual. Someone maybe not the type to ask too many questions, someone that they think will keep the rest of the group in line. We will call him Captain Logan, Fairchild.
You realize why this is concerning to you as you come in and your flashlight glances across the glass enclosure of Captain Fairchild's pod. If there's no power, these pods cannot be supported. If you don't get power to them, your unit's gonna die.
Oh, son of a bitch.
You have a
And I think
choice
there's
to make.
probably-
You know you can pop these pods, you can free them, you can bring them out here, but you don't know. Each time you pop a pod, there is a risk. They can get sick. There are many things that can happen from the exposure if they are not allowed to slowly re-enter. But if you do not get to that generator, or if whatever that ball of energy completely fucked up that generator beyond repair, you have that as backup. Smash the glass, get them out here, get them pumped full. Pray to whatever gods you have.
Oh god, can I read a situation?
Absolutely.
Because I feel like this is gonna come very much down to Chris's ability to quickly process the information at hand.
So out of Chris's unit, is only like Chris and Tammy the only ones who are out here?
Right.
Yes, Tammy was the first one out, and Chris isn't sure how she got out.
Right.
He was the one that she released, but she was pretty far gone at that point, and he didn't get much more information out of her.
And this area has been locked off to them until now.
Okay.
So yeah, what
So
is your
8.
question
So there's about 8 more squad members.
about? Yeah.
Yeah, and the superiors, maybe 1 or 2. Actually, I don't think we. One superior is definitely. It's superiors plural. One superior definitely being my commanding officer, but I wouldn't be surprised if there was like the head of this facility here as well.
Right. Yep.
Okay, so reading a sitch. Whoop, knocked something off the table. Basically, I want to know if Chris can figure out like what his odds are of actually getting to the backup generator in time are.
Right.
So I'm
So
not
what's
entirely sure which
your
question. Yeah, best
Best
way.
way in, I guess. How's your?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Right. You know that there's a. It's not an access tunnel. It's literally just a like an air tunnel that you have access to with. You're not sure if the locks of the doors are working very well, but you are sure that getting to the backup generator, if you were to go through the vents, you can get there. You probably have, again, based off of how these pods are set up, you probably have about 15 minutes of time. So it's not like an urgent, you have to do this right now, but there's definitely the risk there. You could try the doors. You could probably get. I mean, if the doors are unlocked, or if you're able to get through them, you're getting to the backup generator. I mean, it's only a few flights up. It's not going to take you that long to get there. But you know that all of them, they have those electronic locks, and you're not sure how far widespread the
Power
electricity
outage
is. Yeah. So your best way in is through the vents.
I think that's what Chris is going to do, because if he opens all the pods and they all end up just dying from the maelstrom, then...
Right.
Yeah. Because he himself barely made it through that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you remember many weeks on your bed being cared for, in many ways the same way you care for Tammy.
Mm-hmm.
Her singing's gotten a bit louder. It's still muffled from being so far away, but she's definitely singing with a bit more gusto.
All right, Chris is going to book it for the vent.
Awesome. So as Chris heads off to the vent, we find ourselves back at the castle. Sam, you've just met with the Emperor. It was a conversation. You got to meet the man. He seemed to be impressed by you and has welcomed you to his war council for your expertise. Also, clearly enjoying having someone that doesn't seem to be attached to all the weird shit that's been going on around his home lately. Just a warrior. He knows how to deal with warriors and maybe lawyers as well.
Well, we're both blood-sucking parasites.
Your companion of the hour, Kryn, has been left at the tavern. You haven't had much time to go and do what you needed to do. So as you're leaving the Emperor, you're kind of walking past down to the tavern, maybe to check in on Kryn, when you can see Lark across the way. You can see the legate has actually directed someone to go and watch the truck, but he seems to be in the process of giving orders to some of his men, and you might even see some of the men training kind of towards the back. Even though it is getting colder here, most of them are shirtless, and they're doing various types of warm-up activities that a lot of them are more they're structured, but they're violent. You're not just doing push-ups, you're doing push-ups while someone's beating you in the back with a switch. It's
so my kind of training.
Right. There's definitely violence in their training. But you're
it's
here.
Not good training if there's not good ass kicking.
You're back at the castle. You can see the people in the marketplace starting to open up. You can feel the unease of the place, that everyone's looking over their shoulder. There's been a large amount of situations over the past few days where they don't know if they're going to be trampled by an animal or shot or jump off a tower. They're not sure if death is right around the corner. There's a group starting to form around a small building outside of the castle as well. It's a doorway off to your right, where we would recognize it's the medics. There's probably 3 or 4 of the Legion standing outside trying to keep, it seems, a group of 8, 10 people who are starting to get louder, angrier. They're demanding entry.
That's gonna pique some interest. So this is close to what Sam would assume is probably like where the medics are probably hanging out, have their supplies and stations ready.
Right. So right over here.
See, I kind of want to start heading over that way and see if I can read a situation before I get there.
Absolutely.
See what information I can pick from along the way.
Yep. Absolutely. Roll that sharp. Awesome.
Alright, let's see here. What can I ask for right now? One second, I'm a little bit rusty at this. What did I roll?
Read a situation. We have, where's my best escape route, way in or way past? What enemy is most vulnerable to me? What enemy is the biggest threat? What should I be on the lookout for? What's my enemy's true position, or who's in control here?
There's 2 good ones there. I think I want to know who's in control here. More of the angry. Who seems to be the one driving them to be one, and the one with the loudest voice among the group?
Absolutely. It seems to be 2, a man and a woman, probably about in their 40s, both of them with brown hair. The man has a long braided beard. The woman is wearing it looks like an overcoat, but you can see that it has a large, it looks like the Crocodile Dundee kind of knife across it. The man is wearing, it looks like custom made gear. These appear to be, if you've seen them before, hunters, people that go out and just hunt the wild animals out there. They are definitely at the front, and they are demanding to see their children within this facility. They know they are there. They're demanding to see them. There is a group that obviously does not trust. There's a situation that's been happening. People don't trust that the kids are safe inside.
Okay. I'm just gonna hang out along the side of this group now that I know that that's kind of situation. Just see how the Legion are handling this. Because this is kind of a delicate situation, and though Sam might be a little bit good here, she doesn't exactly have a presence to where she can exactly command the situation herself at this point.
Right. You can see 4 of them. One of them appears to be a bit older than the others. The audience would recognize this being the one known as Monk. He's kind of more of the level-headed defensive strategist of this place. He is standing in front of the other 3. They're kind of standing in a triangle shape. And as he's standing there, his arms are wide, and you can hear his voice while he's talking quietly. It is directed. He is trying to diffuse the situation with understanding, that I understand your frustration. I understand your concern for your children. We must allow the Medicae to do their work. The Emperor will come and he will speak to you soon, but we must have peace. We've had too much heartache over the past few days. My good people, now is not the time for this. Please give us space. Allow the Emperor to come and speak to you. We will resolve this situation. Anger is not needed at this time.
Alright, so is there any Legion who's not particularly has his hands full keeping people under wraps? Like just one who's just kind of standing off to the side, just keeping an eye on him. Is there anyone like that?
Right, yeah, I think kind of towards when you came out the door, there was one standing there. This would be... This is probably Doghead, to be honest. He's been kind of helping everybody come to and fro. So he was probably one of the guys at the gate that you would have recognized, the one that hopped up on the truck, and he's just standing there watching the door, and as you kind of walked by, he just closed the door and just seems to be the door guard at this time. So he's far enough away that he can overhear the conversation and see what's going on, but he's not actively involved in it.
Alright, he's kind of one I'm going to walk over to real quick, because Sam doesn't want to get involved with this per se, and because she knows if she does, it's going to get really, really bad. And she just made a nice deal, and she's not too keen on ruining that.
Right.
So she's going to go over to Doghead and say, "What's going on over there? Something about kids?"
Right, he kind of looks over, and you notice he's got a very strong jawline, kind of, it almost seems wolf-like features, so for a moment you're like, yeah, I could have killed you up on that hilltop too, but you let that go. He looks over and says, the Medicaid has been causing shit. I think the parents are pissed. I don't know.
Great. So the docs are going nuts, and it's pissing everybody off.
Seems like, yeah.
The last thing you want in this kind of situation where everything's playing is for your docs to lose their shit. Once that happens, everything goes to crap.
Well,
I assume the boss man knows about this?
He's being informed now. It seems the doc not only lost their shit, but it kind of leans closer. He may have lost their kids.
Oh. There's just this long sigh with a slight face palm.
You able to help if things go up?
Yeah, I can knock a few heads if necessary. Jeez. Guess I gotta stick. This is really bad.
Get
Though
this.
I hate kids myself.
The Medicaid was locked in the dungeon, though. We're not sure exactly. We don't know what happened to the kids.
Lovely.
There's too much of this
weird crap.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, when you have a place dedicated to it, that shit kind of happens.
He looks over to the church and just kind of squints his eyes. That's what I've been telling them. We got real things happening here. We don't have to be worrying about all that stuff you can't see, you can't feel, you can't make bleed. Those kids were real.
Probably made them bleed too, if we're not lucky. When was the last time the Medica was saw with the kids?
Kind of looks to make sure no one's hearing. That's the thing. No one knows. The kids, they were hurt yesterday. Was it yesterday? And the damn animals got out of the stables, ran over a couple kids, and he was working on them. Parents found out he had them strung up to a whole bunch of tubes and stuff. They were knocked out cold, not responsive. He called it a coma, something like that. Parents are, of course, pissed, not knowing what the hell he's doing. Emperor said, take him down, keep him guard. And I guess he felt so inclined to just put himself in the dungeon. That's where we found him this morning when Lark, the preacher man, came through with Z. And to be honest, that's all that's in there. They get into that room, they're just going to see an old dead guy and an almost dead younger guy. There's no kids in that room.
That doesn't really put the blame on him per se, even if he did lose his crap. So, the fact that the kids were out like that concerns me. If you had them hooked up like that, how could they get off without causing such a freaking mess? Only a medical professional will get them off. And she just kind of slightly taps on the first aid kits that she just crafted from scratch.
Right.
I know a little bit about these things. Not an expert, but I should know when you got someone hooked up to shit, it's kind of hard to take it out without knowing what the fuck you're doing, without causing a fucking mess. So, I guess you can say one thing. Those kids didn't walk out of there on their own.
True. No, they definitely didn't. As he says that, you can hear a door slam back behind the door, and you can hear the sets of footsteps coming towards the entryway. He kind of goes, oh, shit. Kind of steps over to the side to move out of the way of the door before it moves open. Kind of looks at you like, we weren't talking.
And Sam immediately just starts walking off like nothing even happened.
Right. The door slams open, and immediately the Emperor looks over. Damn it. Begins making his way towards the crowd. Do you continue to walk away, or do you stay to observe?
I'll let him handle this situation. This is something a man with words can handle.
Right.
Meanwhile, I've got two targets I can deal with now. I can either go try and catch up to Lark, or there's a little rat who needs a squeal in the dungeon. That's intriguing.
Right, and I want to make sure I didn't make myself unclear. The Medicaid is currently in that facility. However, he was down in the dungeons last night. He put himself in the dungeons. He's not there anymore. The only rat to squeal down there at the moment would be Larissa and Crusacious, and I think Lark would be all down for you to make Crusacious squeal. I think he'd be okay with that.
The Medica is interesting, but the fact that the guy threw himself into a dungeon and then was basically just let out the next gate to do his business, something about that doesn't sit right. There's got to be a reason of why that guy just walked in the dungeon. There must have been some weird shit going on with him. So asking the guy who watches it might be entertaining.
Right.
And of course, someone just throws himself in the dungeon. I imagine that the dungeon keeper's going to want to ask some questions of okay, why? So he might know a few things. It'll be interesting for her to catch up on.
Absolutely.
So
You
yeah,
start to head
I
into
want to
the
head down.
dungeons. Absolutely.
Yep.
So as you begin to head that way, you probably overhear the Emperor start to talk to the families, and you can tell he's trying to direct them away from the medic facility, offering them, please come in, join me. Maybe we can have a bit of bread, share some drink. It's a blessing for me to be offering you that. It seems like the parents are definitely intrigued by that. A few members of the crowd, you can hear the whispers of don't trust him, which is... that probably pricks your ears up. There's definitely a seed of distrust throughout his community. But as you head over there, Lark, you have been heading back to your church just as you saw Rourke. Just as you're coming through, you can see Rourke clearly has been yelling at someone, that someone is walking away from the tower that Dusk to have been staying at. That someone is the young boy that you've seen around, the butcher's son, Preen's son, Shazza.
All right, I was just about to ask if I'd recognize him as Shazza. And I imagine there's no sign of whether or not Dusk is still in the tower.
No.
Yeah, Dusk keeps her head low.
Unless, Dusk, do you make yourself, you can see Lark and Shazza are on a collision course. So, do you make your presence known, or do you just watch?
I'll just watch for now.
Right.
All right. Yeah, so Lark is he walks up next to Rourke and just very quickly puts his hand on his shoulder and kind of whispers, "Did the boy go into the tower?"
He nods. I tried to stop him, but he wouldn't listen.
How long did he stay?
2-3 minutes, nothing more.
Okay, Lark nods, because now he knows that Dusk is probably still up there.
Right.
Because if there was nothing up there, it's odd that he would have stayed at all. Good. If you can, find... Oh, Pre, the boy's mother. Don't send her out immediately. Wait a bit.
He nods. Yeah, she's been staying with us. I know what tent she's in. I'll make sure that she's ready whenever we need her.
Excellent. Give me about 5 minutes. I want to talk to him alone first before I use her as some sway in the conversation.
He nods.
Right. Lark gives him a quick pat and starts walking after Shazza.
Yeah, Shazza's just, his head's down. He's kind of dragging his feet through the little bit of snow that's on the ground, and he's just making a beeline towards the butcher.
All right. Before he gets too far, Lark gives him a very God of War-esque, "Boy!"
Turns back.
Boy.
Boy!
Lark approaches, kind of not like an aggressive fast walk, but trying to catch up.
Right.
And once he's in like normal talking range, he's like, "You were Shazza, correct?"
He nods. You are
Lark.
the leader of... That's right, Lark. Yes, my mother's mentioned you a few times.
Lark continues to approach, not to the point where he's uncomfortably close, but to the point where they can like talk somewhat quietly without like people across the courtyard hearing.
Mm-hmm.
And as Lark stands closer, he just kind of says, "I've heard a great deal of things about you from our mutual friend."
Kind of looks at you. She's my mom, not my friend.
That's not who I was referring to, Shazza. And then Lark just kind of glances up at the tower and then back to Shazza.
Yeah, he doesn't make eye contact, just kind of looks down to the ground.
Dusk has told me about you.
he's listening, but not looking at you.
Lark doesn't like that, but he also knows Dusk is probably watching, so he's not gonna get too aggressive with Shazza. I've been told you have been selling meat of a peculiar, I can't say that word for some reason. Of a strange sort.
Just meet like I always have with my dad. Help him at the shop.
Lark kind of like puts a hand on Shazza's shoulder and starts kind of like pushing him along. Show me. I'm curious. I haven't been around too often. I'm very much used to knowing where my food comes from. I want you to show me the process.
Just kind of accepts it. Begins to make his way towards the butcher shop. You can see that the market's starting to open. He leads you around towards the back, and you may see his father's in there.
As Lark is
yes.
Dusk will follow.
Okay. Yeah. Lark will like glance at the tower to see if he sees movement.
Right. So it sounds like Dusk. Are you making yourself known that you're following, or are you trying to sneak? Okay. Absolutely. Yeah. Let's do some sneak here. Act under fire to see if Lark notices you.
Ooh.
Oh. It's subtle, but he sees something.
No, I think yeah, it's more than that. As Dusk, as you begin to make your way kind of down the tower, yeah, Rourke has just awoken Preen, and they were having a conversation kind of down along the way, but she happens to see you. And this small 5'2" Indian woman starts just charging right after you. No, you stop. You stop there. I have words with you.
Does Lark hear that?
Probably. Like, I would say at this point you're probably about halfway. And
right.
Shazza probably hears his mom calling out as well and hears it. So, yeah. Dusk, you're being called out. Lark, you see it across the way. Shazza's kind of uncomfortable and... yeah.
Oh, shit.
All right. This might get more public than Lark wanted. Yeah, I think Lark calls out in a very commanding tone. Pre! Like trying to get her attention.
My mom's name's Preen.
Preen, I'm sorry. Lark just calls out, Preen!
She stops, kind of looks at you. I'm gonna say that if you're trying to manipulate her to stop, you're gonna have to roll that, because unfortunately she's not like one of your followers, but she's also a mom. She's been a mom longer than she's been one of your followers, and yeah,
I am okay with that.
Absolutely.
All right.
Yeah, let's see. I'm gonna
definitely some weird shadow stuff happens.
Right. We're gonna do that and that just in case, and then there's probably a Rourke over here like, oh shit, what have I done?
I'm still on the facility screen.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry I can't split you by character. That would be great if that was a possibility. There you go.
Not a problem.
So yeah, she stops. At the moment, there's a standoff. Dusk, Lark is across the way with Shazza. Preen's charging at you. Preen is now staring at Dusk and Lark. Shazza's staring at all three of you. Rourke is just showing up like, okay. I'm gonna ask you, Dusk. Like, you are definitely exposed at the moment, more than you're comfortable with. What would you like to do?
Lark has created an opening.
I mean, yeah, if Lark has distracted Preen, she will try to run away as quickly as possible.
If you're gonna try to run, Lark is going to just point at you as well. Dusk.
All right. I guess yeah. I'm gonna say that if you try to run, this is just gonna be an acting under fire, and Lark can absolutely interfere to see if he can.
Okay.
Yeah, if he's able to get you to flinch, hesitate, or stall. Go ahead and roll your hex there.
All right. Because nice. Thank God for that 3.
All right, so it's still a 10. Yeah, Dusk,
All right.
you hear Lark call out to you, but you can choose to ignore or respond. The choice is yours at this point. Lark has directed you to stay. You have full control of your decision here.
I mean, she will run to a place where she isn't so open, like a corner or something, and just peek at Lark or something.
Do you just go back up in the tower?
I mean, she's kind of cornered there, so probably not.
Right.
There's behind the church. With pre-distracted, you could run behind her.
I
Right.
mean, but wait. Oh, okay. So I guess maybe like in this corner by the tower.
Right, just so you kind of have
So
some.
basically, mostly only Shazza and Lark can see her.
Right.
All right. I guess realizing that this is happening now, Lark kind of like turns and moves back there over to Dusk.
Right. Do you
And Roar.
try to drag Shazza with you, or?
Oh yeah.
All right. Yeah, poor Shazza. He's still so timid. Like, you're an older man. He's just gonna go. He doesn't want to.
I'm an older man, and I'm the weird cult leader that just
Right.
made weird shadow things happen.
Oh, Dusk, the poor ice he's giving you. He's so sorry right now, but yeah, there's not much he can do. Luckily, there's enough of a commotion going on elsewhere that this whole ruckus, sure, Shazza's father's definitely noticed, and now he's kind of watching like, what the hell are my family up to now? But he also has customers, and well, that's also important.
Thank God for them mid-morning rushes.
Everybody needs their bacon.
So Lark kind of approaches, and he just kind of beckons Preen over.
She does, her head down very much as her son carries his. In fact, it's probably a bit more, yeah, Lark, you've seen this before. This is a woman who is not in a healthy relationship and is expecting the worst at this point.
Okay. Lark will kind of turn the Rourke, and he gives probably a nod he's given many times before. The kind of be lookout nod to Rourke.
Right. Yep.
Because he needs to. And he turns to Preen and just says, "Dusk is a close acquaintance of mine. If you have words with her, you have words with me."
She looks up. She is also a close acquaintance to my son. You see the injuries on his neck, that was her doing. She's been a danger to him for quite some time now.
And he just kind of looks to Preen, and he kind of like bulks up a little bit, like he's in his like authoritative mode. He's in control of this situation at the moment, and he just... This castle is full of many dangerous people that you rely on for protection, both among the members of the Legion and the members of the cult. Dusk is no different. One unfortunate instance out of her control does not relegate her to the role of enemy. Am I clear?
You gotta manipulate. You can tell she's not quite buying into the full thing here. Oh,
Oof.
yeah.
These rolls. I love having weird highlighted.
You speak with a tone that she dare not disagree with.
And he kind of goes on a little bit to drive the point home. I assure you, Dusk is someone that you would very much rather have as an ally as opposed to an enemy. Among all of the people in the castle, he kind of looks directly at Dusk for this part. There are few I would trust my life with as much as I trust Dusk.
She looks over to her son and looks towards Dusk. For the first time, kind of looks to your face, and I only wish to protect my son as the entity can protect myself. If you trust her, I will as well. She looks towards you, Dusk.
Can I do Winter's Whistling Winds?
Oh yeah.
Oh God.
Absolutely.
On Preen, Shazza,
I mean, it's
Lark,
just to
Lark.
communicate. Preen.
Perfect. Perfect. So on
she
a
takes 1
9,
harm. God damn it.
On a 9, and to be honest, it's just gonna make yeah, this is okay. So what is your message?
I don't want to hurt Shazza.
Is there any like indication to Lark that Dusk is doing something?
I mean, Preen probably shrieking in pain.
So this woman can take a lot of pain, and 1 harm, armor piercing, as her head starts to strain.
Is she visibly in pain? Because Lark will try to quickly remedy that.
I'm gonna say you're gonna have to read a person because she is not showing it.
All right.
She's
Oh, thank God.
She's experienced much more pain than a mere headache. Yeah.
Okay. So read a person. Do I ask the questions, or is this a read to see that she is in pain?
Basically kind of ask the questions, but we can give you answers either from just right now. You're trying to. I'm assuming what's your character really feeling?
Yeah.
She's feeling pain, but she doesn't know if it's just because of stress. Like, she's not attributing it to, okay, Dusk just hurt me. She was kind of expecting you to hurt her, but there's also a high stress situation. So she definitely, you can tell she's hurting, but she doesn't know where it's coming from.
Okay. Okay, that makes a big difference, because I'm not gonna roll the healing hands if she isn't, like, if she doesn't believe Dusk is the cause, because that would really undo a lot of what Lark just did.
Right. I mean, depending on how you want to use the situation,
Lark is definitely being more sparing about the healing hands after those
right.
unfortunate incidences he had before.
Absolutely.
Probably
So he
for
doesn't
the
have
better.
to. Yeah. So what does Preen intend to do? Like, does it seem like she has been quelled a bit? Like her anger's been not redirected, but
Yeah, at this point, she honestly intends for you to use her as you were before. Like, she's become obedient, I guess. She's just ready to follow orders at this point. She trusts the situation.
okay.
Yeah.
So what does she wish? What does she wish Lark would do?
Oh, that is a hard question. You got you're still standing right next. Oh man, there's so many philosophical questions right now about what this poor woman. Right now, she just wants you to help her son, help him see the way, help him become a follower as she is, give them something to connect on.
Okay. Okay. So Lark kind of taking in a lot of things, and this is what he is good at. He is good at reading people, picking out all these little details. He is like post-apocalypse Sherlock Holmes when it comes to this. And he just kind of nods and looks to Preen, and he just, "You look tired. You should rest."
She understands, kind of backs away, and again nods towards everyone, even Rourke. She gives one last kind of "I love you" look to her son, who has not looked up from the ground at all during the situation.
And Lark is going to finish this thought with, "Dusk has asked me to look at your son, and that is what I will do.
With
I will ensure.
Go ahead. Sorry.
I will ensure he is as healthy and safe as he can possibly be."
Yeah, with the mention of that, Dusk, Shazza gives you some "what the fuck" eyes.
Yeah, Lark looks at Dusk too at that. Like he has a little bit of "you put me in this situation" look, because Lark did not want to have to diffuse anything.
I mean, at the time she asked Lark to look at Shazza, it was before
Right.
she understood that he was developing power. She thought it was just more entity fuckery.
Oh yeah, now Lark has some stuff going on too, so. Yeah, but he's still got a little bit of the "you asked for this" expression.
No, she's going to again use like Winter's Whistling Winds on Shazza. I don't think I need to roll for him.
No, it's just a conversation for him.
Okay. So she says, "I was just worried about you."
Yeah, I get it. That's all he says.
thought, she continues, I thought the entity was messing with you.
No, I get it. I'll talk to him and get it over with. Get things back to normal.
Okay.
Should I be worried?
I'll keep an eye on you.
Alright, so with the situation diffused, Lark will kind of let Preen go out back to her tent and then turn back with Shazza. What were we talking about? Yes, I wanted you to show me how you prepare that meat everyone's talking about.
Looks. Everyone's talking about it?
Well, if Larissa in the dungeon is knowledgeable enough to tell me about it, I assume everyone else is.
He seems ashamed at that. You can tell even on his darker skin, there's a bit of a blush falling on his cheeks. But he's following you towards the butcher.
Yeah, but I'll look back at Dusk one more time as I walk away with Shazza.
I mean, she's not going to stay there, so...
Right.
Yeah, I probably look back and she's gone.
Yeah, probably. She will try to do that.
Yeah. I mean, at this point, people are... all the parties nearby you have been kind of told to just fuck right off, ignore, leave her alone. So yeah, if you're trying to spy, we can deal with that once we get there. If you're just keeping an eye from a distance, then that's not a problem. You can do that.
She will. When she said she would keep an eye on him, she said, like, literally keep an eye on him, so she's going to spy.
Right. Well, you begin to follow them kind of as you do, maybe ducking behind a few buildings here and there and kind of tracking them across as they are walking towards the butchers. They get fairly close, and Shazza's dad, this large, like he's just a built man. He's got thin, again, kind of balding, dark hair. He's wearing a very dark stained apron, probably even has a butcher's knife out, and you hear him like slam down. He leans down. You gonna fucking fix my family?
Lark kind of looks over a little bit surprised at that.
Seems my bitch of a wife ran to you, and now my son's with you as well. You better get them in order, get them back home, or else I'm gonna have to come drag them out, bring them back home myself. Whatever you got to do over there, preacher, get them right.
Oh, Lark doesn't like that at all. That's wow, what an asshole.
Yeah, Hugo's kind of a dick.
Yeah, Lark, that is not lost on Lark.
And he doesn't want to fix his family. It's now your job. They're all running to you, obviously, so get them fixed up and ship them home.
Lark kind of like looks to Shazza briefly and looks right back to Hugo, and he just kind of like has this like really look on his face, like
right. Yeah, he tried like the force of the butcher's knife coming down as you're chopping the meat gets steadily harder as he's kind of just looking towards you and Shazza. He's trying to whip his dick out on the counter, and you know, as they do. Just it's your job now. But Shazza,
Lark just kind of looks. Yeah, Lark just kind of looks to him and says, "Well, I guess someone has to."
he doesn't care. He knows he's an asshole, and hey, he doesn't have to do the job. Just get him home. That's all that matters to him. Get him home. You can call me names, whatever. Shazza just ignores this and walks back behind, kind of opens the back door, and you can see that the area that his father is standing in is separated by a door into kind of a back little freezer area. There's a small little bench, more like a stool, a lot of variety of cutting implements and slabs of meat. They look like type of a deer, elk, maybe some pig. Kind of various meat, some carcasses still there, recently bled, some that probably been hanging there for a while. But he kind of opens the door and offers for you to walk in.
Lark does so. Lark has a bit of a look on his face still, like, can't believe what a dick Hugo was to his own family. Lark's not even related to any of his cult members, and he treats them a million times better.
Right. Yeah. And you've seen many guys like this. You've probably dealt with many guys like this. There's probably quite a few of the followers
Dealt with
in your
and
cult
death.
that are from guys like this. Yeah.
Dealt with and dealt with.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I think this is, you're like, yeah, I will make them into a family. Absolutely. I will fix your family. Uh-huh. Well, as Lark walks...
I see only one big flaw. Yeah, its name is Hugo.
Right. Yeah.
All right.
Just a blemish.
So Lark walks in.
Right. So as Lark walks into one semi-cold place, we find Chris crawling into another semi-cold place as you begin to head into the vents. Well, you have your flashlight, still a decent idea of where to go. What's the game plan here?
He is booking it to the generator.
Right. I'm going to have you... Go ahead.
Okay. Because if he has to go back and then start cracking them open, he wants as much time for that as possible.
Right. Let's act under fire here. There's definitely a danger, and you are trying to make your way. Absolutely. It seems a lot longer than it is, and that's just because you're going so fast. You're trying to get there, and the thought of that ticking clock in the background. Eventually, you find it. A little bit of those you can see down from the vent below. You pop the grate down, and you drop down into the room. It's a fairly small room, a maintenance closet, as it were. And they're pretty future tech in here. You know that there's the breaker box up on the wall. They have the generator. It's really only about maybe 5 feet wide and 4 feet by 4 feet. It's not a huge thing. There's a series of buttons on it and things that you've probably been trained on, but you do find yourself in the room. Still dark. It does seem like the power is out throughout the facility.
Oh, God damn it. He's gonna keep going as fast as he can. I imagine he's gonna come to a door at some point.
No, you're in the room. Like you
you're
find yourself
in the breaker room.
In the room.
Okay.
You can see the breaker box up on the wall. You can see the generator in front of you.
All right, so he's gonna get to work immediately. That generator needs to be on 5 minutes ago.
Right. As you reach for the little panel where, again, there's like a series of codes you have to hit, and then that button to actually turn it on, you stop. It's not that you stop, it's that your mind focuses on something else. A time when you were maybe touching one of your parents' computers, playing with a video game, doing something in your childhood? Oh, shit. No, she's talking. Damn. As the whispers of an old woman begin to speak of childhood memories
Oh God.
within this room. Please roll plus weird. She speaks of times of your childhood, times of joy and laughter, times of anger and fear, back when emotions were pure and simple.
Oh my God, my rolls today are amazing.
On a 10 plus, tell of a time in your childhood that you begin to remember and the emotion attributed to it. The MC will tell you what stat to highlight and take +1 forward until the next time you sleep when rolling that stat.
Oh God. So what would be a good childhood memory for Chris? I think it was with a childhood friend of his, Daniel, and they lived up north. Winters were fun. They were told to never like go by the river in the winter, just because obviously a frozen lake is dangerous for 10-year-olds. But there was a one day where they were up on the hill, snow slipped, and Daniel fell in the water, and Chris had to run all the way back to town to get someone to help. And they eventually got Daniel out of the water and saved him. He was, of course, cold and not in a good way, but Chris was praised and felt like a hero, and it kind of set him in like a mode of for a good chunk of his life of how important it is to be the hero when the needs arise. And later in his life, that probably contributed to him joining the military and wanting to do like greater and better things.
Right. Yeah. No, this is, though, kind of a pun intended, being the whole freezing river. It was Chris acting cool under a hectic situation. So I'm not sure if you already have cool highlighted, but if not, go ahead and highlight that now. And until the next time you sleep, you will take a +1 towards those rolls. As you feel that feeling again, you're gonna be the hero, Chris. Like, this is, yeah. You're gonna save your unit. You're gonna get the power back on. This is good. This is good. You come out of that. You punch the codes. Dit. Hit that big button. Take a breath. Start to hear that click. Dink, dink. The rotating parts within the generator start to spin. That kind of blur sound begins to go. And the lights begin to click on around you. Click, click, click. You can see the lights on the door behind you turn on, though red, because of course they would
The backup lights.
They are still there.
Chris kind of like takes a breath. Oh, thank fucking God.
Right. In that
And then
moment,
as he says God, he kind of looks up or wherever the actually never mind.
right. That was whatever that was.
Yeah, and he's gonna turn and he's gonna make a beeline back for I think he kind of does like a bit of a coin flip whether or not he's gonna go the stasis or the isolation chamber first. I think stasis is on the way. It makes sense to stop there first, but he's gonna immediately, as soon as the power's back on, turn around, book it.
Right. Yeah. You. Luckily, you have your key card on you. Head to the door. You swipe it open. Head straight to the stairs. Start heading down the stairs, and oh, there's such that welcoming sound as Green Day starts to play once again. You can hear it. But that was weird. I want to know what Chris feels. Chris knows. That damn old woman just spoke to me. Why are you not crawling, just tearing your eyes out? Why did you not shoot yourself in the head? Why did she help you?
Yeah. Chris is probably there's probably a point where he's moving and he slows down as those thoughts kind of like run through his mind a bit.
Plus
And
the adrenaline rush.
yes, yeah. And just kind of like nods, shakes it off a little bit because he's got other priorities, just kind of says to himself, damn things are crazy. And he's going to run up to the stasis.
Awesome. As you go in, you immediately check the room, and you can see the little screens have popped up on each. You can see the oxygen levels, you can see the heart rate, you can probably see a variety of like brain interactions specifically to track like did anything Maelstrom get in. All the levels are clear. Everything looks good. Your unit is safe. But you do notice that underneath the sound, you get down and you try to listen. Wait, is Tammy still singing? She's not. You don't hear her song at this point.
Yeah, Chris, a new rush of stress just kind of washes over him. He kind of looks to the stasis units and kind of like trying to make light of the situation because it is very stressful. Just don't go anywhere. He turns and runs.
Right. Your commander gives you a thumbs. No, just joking.
Wait, what? Oh, it's Sam and the Shadowless twins all over again. Oh, thank God, no shadows. Wait. Oh God. So he's gonna book it back to the isolation chamber.
You can see Tammy still in the corner. She's not singing or rocking anymore, but she's pulled her arms kind of tightly around her chest and she's giving herself a very long hug.
Chris will come over and kind of like kneel down and give Tammy a bit of a hug and just like, oh, thank God. Oh God. Gonna be like my grandfather taking blood pressure meds after this. We're safe. We're safe. Told you to trust me. We're safe. He kind of like stands up. Safe. And he's gonna start gathering the supplies from the twins he left. Best get those somewhere out of the way.
Right.
Especially because there's a bunch of sharp objects he doesn't want Tammy finding.
Right, you probably put them in your bunk.
Yeah.
Able to store them away. She just stays there, her arms around her, just looking at the floor. And you've seen the emotionless state before. It's maybe a bit sad, like there may have been something there for a moment. Yeah, you just leave her kind of in there for a bit. You try to help her move.
Oh. Yeah, he probably puts everything away, goes back, she's still there. And yeah, I think he's going to try to help her to her room.
Right. You reach down.
Yeah, he's worried about her, so and that's an easier place to keep an eye on her. At least in the meantime.
As you reach down to kind of grab her arm to kind of pull her up to her feet, she resists. You can feel the strength of this woman, which is not as strong as the woman you once knew, but she still has the strength of a military member, a soldier.
Right.
And
more than what the average person.
Bear hug, and that's when you notice that her fingernails are starting to dig kind of through her jacket. You can see her hug. She's trying to dig in.
Okay, Chris is stressed again.
Yeah. She hasn't gotten to flesh yet. You can see holes starting to form, but
right,
she's definitely trying to tear into her shoulder blades. the best hug ever.
Oh, that's creepy. Chris is gonna try. He doesn't want to be forceful. Kind of like kneels down again. Tammy, what's wrong?
You just can hear like the scratching of fingernails across fabric. Just looks.
Stop that. It's not good. God damn it. Yeah, he tries pulling like her fingers away.
All right. That's definitely gonna be. Let's see. What is this going to be here? This is probably a unique. Probably a battle move, to be honest. Yeah, I think this is probably seize by force, or...
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Yeah. Yeah, you're trying to seize control of herself.
All right. I've been rolling really good. It's going to run out eventually.
All right, still choose
closer
two.
there. Let's see. Seize by force.
And I think this might be a variation. To defend someone else from attack, you still roll seize by force, but instead of choosing to take definite control, you can choose to protect them from harm.
Yeah. So I will. So I'll definitely protect them because I don't want Hemi hurting herself. And let's see, suffer little harm. I'm debating whether or not I want to do the suffer little harm, because I assume she's going to fight me to some degree, or try to impress, like something that'll get like a reaction.
Right. Like, get out of your own head for a moment. There's no reason to hurt yourself. Your fingers already scabbed down to the bone. There's no reason to continue doing this. Yeah?
Yeah, I think I'm going to do that. Like, Chris will like say something as he's doing it after however it goes. So he kind of like grabs her fingers and tries to like peel them away from her jacket and kind of tries to like lower her arms and make her. I guess you can't really force someone to relax, but he wants her to stop doing this hugging thing because it seems self-destructive.
Right. No, I mean, you're like, you're speaking to her as if you're the captain. You're being direct. You're giving orders. It pulls her attention. She looks up to you. You can see her eyes are still wide, and she smiles before her arms go up, and she grabs you and begins giving you the best hug ever.
Oh, does she grab like somewhere that's not protected or something?
Oh, she just grabs around like around your ribs, like where your arms are. So she has you basically around the bicep, and she's just pulling you close, and you can feel the tension. Like you were closer to this woman than you've ever been before. Maybe there was that one time when you got a bit drunk, but
there's always that one time.
There is. This is definitely. You can feel your ribs starting to get squeezed, and this is a death squeeze. Like you can just feel it. She's just giving you the best hug ever.
All right. Yeah, Chris is though uncomfortable right now. There's a bit of a reassurance that like she still has strength despite everything, which is encouraging. Just says, there's that strength that almost knocked me out in sparring that day. Tammy tries to kind of like wiggle free a little bit. This is a bit. Okay, I guess we're gonna. He starts kind of like trying to waddle with her towards her room.
Right. All right. Let's see. I'm
Because
wondering
he's
if
realizing
this is,
that, yeah,
like you're not trying to
not
fight
getting
with
it done.
her, but in a way you're still trying to. There's a lot of things you're trying to do at this point. Yeah. If you're just walking with her, I think that's just acting under fire to... Is it even that? I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it's an act under fire. I feel this is a very custom move that you're just trying to get her to your room, but you know that if you don't stop her from squeezing, there's going to be some broken ribs in your future, and that's not a future you want to go down.
Yeah.
So I guess the question is, I mean, sure, you can probably start making your way to the room, but what are you going to do about these ribs?
Good question. I think he's just gonna try to like flex and not like necessarily like resist the hug, but oppose her strength in some way. I can't really think of anything non-aggressive he can do to avoid breaking his ribs.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
if she had hugged you, like wrapped around your arms, you could probably put some resistance, but
Yeah.
otherwise, it's kind of hard to resist a bear hug.
Yeah, I think he's trying to move and like avoid damage at the same time. So he's trying to do. Yeah, he is trying to do a lot of things right now. It's like, okay, just this way, this way. Let's get you somewhere comfortable.
Right. Yeah, no, I think honestly this might just be time for really on the fly custom move. When you attempt to resist Tammy's bear hug, roll plus hard.
Plus hard, all right. Oh, they're getting lower.
So
lower.
I would say I'm just gonna
eventually.
yeah, on a 10 plus you are released. All right. 7 to 9. Easy. I'll give you a choice here. You can get released. Someone's getting hurt. Do you choose to hurt yourself or do you choose to hurt her? This is probably going to be, it's going to be 1 harm AP. It's either you're hurting your ribs or you're probably hurting hers in some way.
Right. I think Chris will take it. He really does not want to hurt Tammy. That is a last resort thing. So he will take the 1 harm.
Right. You find yourself having to, like, you bulge, but you also have to twist in just a way that you just feel that strain in your shoulder, like you just pulled that muscle right in the back of your neck that you know it's going to be stiff for week, but you feel her arms kind of release and drop down to normal, just kind of walks with you or begins to like turn towards the room to follow you. Go ahead and roll the harm move +1 for me.
All right. Oh, my luck comes back to haunt me.
All right. Yeah. What happens here?
I'm thinking she resists in a way I'm not ready for, and I smack something.
Honestly, I think what happens is, you end up... It's like you resist so hard that you expect her to fight back, but she lets you go at just the wrong time. And I don't know if you're on the map here, but kind of where
yes.
you all were walking, You're probably walking with her that way towards the room, and as she lets you go, yeah, you just stumble backwards and catch your heel on that bottom step, and dunk, you hit your head. You're seeing black. You're unconscious.
Oh, god damn the lights again. Oh.
You're getting
Oh, god.
you're getting rest. I'm gonna say that this doesn't remove your whisper things, or does it? Oof, that was a 10 on a harm roll.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see when that situation comes up. But yeah, for
Do I take an additional harm for hitting the stairs?
no.
Okay.
You being unconscious is enough harm in itself.
All right. How long am I unconscious?
We'll see. I think that's where we're gonna take our break as Chris smacks his noggin against the stairs there, and
Commercial break.
We'll come back.
Oh my
We'll see
God.
what's gonna happen.
Poor Chris.
Oh, Chris.
Oh my god, he's fighting these evil maelstrom entities, and the stairs are what do him in.